Winston Peters, New Zealand First Leader, joins us now. Winston, fantastic having you on the show again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Wayne Brown yesterday had a crack at you. He said, listen, the problem isn't Maori statutory boards in Auckland. The problem is unelected MPs and bureaucrats in Wellington. What do you think? Are you going to persist with the policy of removing, as if you get elected, obviously, and the parties in some degree of prominence, the statutory Maori board at the Auckland City Council?
Yes, we are, because it's wrong, it's unfair, and it's not required, and it's not democratic, and it's costing 3.5 million a year. That's the straight out above board cost, but the below board costs and delays and other things where this consultancy goes on without any mandate from the people is almost immeasurable, and it's not racist. And the very concept of having this board there, that's racist. That's saying that this elite group of Maori, and only a certain type of Maori, deserves to be there, and all the rest of the Maori and all the rest of the population who are electors or ratepayers don't matter.
His argument also was a sort of practical, pragmatic one, in the sense that at least I've got 18 iwi in that area. I've got them sort of all gathered in a room there. If I have to consult with iwi, and I'm required to do that because of the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi put in the Local Government Act, I've got one place to go. And if you take it away, I'll then have to go and consult with 18 iwi. The problem there would seem to be the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi within the Local Government Act. Will that be removed also by New Zealand First?
Exactly, because there are no principles to the Treaty of Waitangi. There are no principles to the Treaty of Waitangi. You've got a 3-clause document which do not have principles on it, and it was never a partnership when the population at the time ceded sovereignty to the British. And to deny that sort of history is just ridiculous. It's sort of modern day revisionism going on at enormous tax cost of the taxpayer. And there aren't 18 iwi in Auckland. Again, the rest of us that have turned up there from somewhere else in Auckland. And so if you think you're consulting those people on the board, the Maori board, as being representing the 18 iwi, you've got to be kidding yourself. And then, of course, These are the same people who talk about tikanga. Now, tikanga changes iwi by iwi. So we've got 18 different tikanga in Auckland Avenue now. This sort of rampant stupidity has got to stop. And my party is full of people who've got background in as Maori and all sorts of other people. But we put the country first. We call ourselves New Zealanders first, second, and third. Not Maori, not Scots, not Irish, not anything else. We call ourselves New Zealanders first, and we're saying the same thing goes for Auckland. And the mayor, look, who I do support in many other ways, is just wrong about this matter.
Which leads me to the next issue of Maori representation. The Maori seats were put in place, as you know, back in late 1860s, to ensure there was Maori representation.
1867 for the first vote in 1868.
There you go. Now we are in 2026, more Maori representatives or of Maori descent in the history of New Zealand. In fact, they're overrepresented Maori in current New Zealand Parliament. Do we need 7 Maori seats in 2026, Winston?
No. The original Electoral Commission back in the 1880s said that if MMP was adopted in time, it would prove there was no need for the Maori seats. That has well and truly happened. And there are far more Maori in Parliament now than according to the population. And if you go, what was the old definition of Maori? Half or more, that was up to 1975, then we are dramatically overrepresented in Parliament by Maori. But that's not the point. In our case, we don't call ourselves Maori, we call ourselves New Zealanders. And that's the difference. There's no need for this anymore. And look at the way they've performed. They've had a right appalling mess. And even though I've extensively travelled around the world as Foreign Minister, I've spent more time in Parliament than all the Maori MP members from the Maori seats all together.
Yeah, it's
a disgrace. It's not.
Well, you were, when I remember, well, I don't remember because I was too young in actual fact, but your first foray into politics was as the National Party candidate in Northern Maori, as I remember. You obviously felt there was a need for the seats then.
Well, I did, but I was taking on the then Labour Party government and the Whangarei County Council, who were taking all the land off Maori on the coast. And represented my tribe is called Ngāti, which means people of the sea. We're up the coastline, we're having all land taken off us. And so I joined together 477 landowners, including many European, and took them on in a famous legal case. And then thought to myself, actually I could cut through the chase here, I could stand for Parliament and do this more quickly. That was my mistake. Things take a long time in Parliament, as you well know.
I was just trying to work out, what year was that? Was it 1972 or
1975?
1975. I mean, listen, I said that to my wife last night. 51 years, for God's sake. Again, you've entered the political process, and there you are still, 51 years later, leader of New Zealand First, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and riding high in the polls. Extraordinary. You're an amazing person. Listen, next issue. But you're untrustworthy, apparently, according to some in the National Party who are saying, oh, well, remember what Winston did last time. What's your response to those that say you can't be trusted with the centre-right vote at this coming election?
Well, stop lying is what I say, because my policy has been to wait till the people have voted before and after discussions with all sides making up our mind. That was our position all the way until 2022. The Labour Party knows that, the National Party knows that, the whole political science group, every commentator knows that as well. And of course, coming into the 2017 election, we'd been ruled out by Labour.
Yes, that's right.
Ruled out by National. Remember that? And so they have the audacity to say, having ruled him out, all of a sudden he's the one that can't be trusted. Well, my answer to them is, look, I know you're desperate, but please stop lying. Because for a long, long time, it'll be like this. As famous guy General Douglas MacArthur said, there'll come a time and soon when they'll want to speak to me, far more want to speak to them. See what I mean?
Yeah.
What are they going to say when their polls are falling between 25, 23, and the National Party's tumbling in the present polls? What are they going to say then? They are really desperate, and surely the media can understand that. And that desperation's led them to start saying that they're the adults in the room and we are the kids. I can't believe that, given their National Party's inexperience as cabinet ministers before they came into government this time.
I actually I just talked to Nicola Willis before 9 o'clock on that issue, and she said, "Oh, it was just Simeon Brown being cheeky." Do you expect that it was? Do you think that was a riposte that was meant to be playful, or do you think no? There was a fist within the...
Nicola, great excuse, but he's not done it once, he's done it twice. He's defended 24 hours after he made that silly mistake. He's repeated it. So it's not him being cheeky. It's part of their strategy to lie to the public that we can't be trusted. My answer to that is, then so why do you want us to line up with you if we can't be trusted? I tell you can't be trusted. The National Party.